With me to break it all down is Texas Republican Brian Babin. Congressman, is Trump right, though, to take issue with this bill?
I think he is right. Absolutely. I support every dime we can find in waste and foreign aid in the omnibus COVID relief package and giving it back to the U.S. taxpayers. And, we keep hearing that these were his own administrators that made this change. But actually, this was something that the American people needed and expect out of their own government.
So there was a call, we're understanding, within the last few hours with Republicans. Did you feel blindsided? Were you on this call, first of all, and did you feel blindsided by the president's statements here on this?
Well, no, I really didn't, because I was with the president about 2 days ago in the White House talking about the election process, and he had mentioned it as well to some of us who were there. So I kind of knew that this was getting ready to happen.
Were you on this call with the other Republicans in the House?
I was. Yes, I was.
What was the tenor of the call? Can you tell us?
Well, you know what? In defense of both sides, things are. This country has been in a heck of a shape here for months on end, my colleagues on the Republican side are trying to do the best they can, and we don't control the House of Representatives. Over 40 times we have tried to reauthorize the PPP program, the most successful provision of the CARES Act. And we've been stiff-armed each time by Nancy Pelosi with the Democrats. And even though there were millions and millions of dollars still sitting there, we just couldn't use. Wouldn't even need to have appropriated any more money, but we couldn't get them to do it. So they've lumped all this together in a multi-trillion-dollar package. And it's real hard for the American people to understand even how this thing operates. And so, in defense of the Republican conference, the folks out there that are so upset, we actually did not have anything to do with this except to try to get the people the provisions and the aid that they need. And Nancy Pelosi controls it all. Let's put it like that.
So, Congressman, the House Speaker is now tweeting out saying, hey, Mr. President, please sign the bill that's in front of you. And then on Christmas Day, we'll come back for unanimous consent and get that $2,000 he wants, thus upping the price tag. Number one, do you believe her that she will actually do that if he signs the bill? And number two, that's going to be tough to get that through the Senate, where a number of Republican senators don't want that package to add more to the debt.
Well, listen, I understand that is very, very plainly. The best stimulus package we could possibly have would be to open up this economy again and put Americans back to work. They don't want and they shouldn't have to depend on the federal government to make ends meet. And the Democrats want to keep schools and businesses closed and ensure that Americans continue to rely on government instead of their own hard work. It's about power and control, and our economy will not survive another shutdown. So instead of seeing monies go to Pakistan and Sudan, gender studies and these types of things, if you're going to give some money, let's give it to the American people. And that's what I say. And I think that's exactly what the president is meaning when he says he may veto this thing because of that.
Yeah, and just to your point, let's look at some of the things that are actually in this massive bill on both sides here. You're looking at $26 million. You're looking here first at $600 in stimulus checks. You have $300 billion to help small businesses. It extends unemployment benefits. There's no blank check for state and local governments, but there's also no liability shield for those businesses. On the other side of that, what you were talking about, there's $26 million for the Kennedy Center, which has been closed through all this. $10 million for gender programs in Pakistan, $193 million in federal aid for workers to buy new cars overseas, $1.5 million for the Appropriation Committee's Office of Diversity and Inclusion. The bill mandates hiring new measures to ensure diversity in the Intel community. And, you could just go on and on related to what's in there. Does it anger you a little bit that some of this stuff has been packed in and it's so close to Christmas break trying to force this through?
Absolutely. I'll tell you this, Edward, this should have been done months and months and months ago. And yet, because of the intransigence of the Pelosi-led Democratic Party and making demands and doing things just exactly as you said, here we are at the very end of the year. We get a bill that's nearly 6,000 pages long. It's so big that the Capitol printing presses even broke down. The computers crashed. No amendments were allowed. The whole process was no committee work. Couldn't see the final product, just a handful of members. A $2.3 trillion bill, and the rest of us are told to take it or leave it and do so in less than 4 hours. I believe it was irresponsible to my constituents and to the rest of the American taxpayers to pass a bill that we didn't really know all of the details on. It's coming out since that time. It's real easy to talk about it in hindsight, but when you have a bill, it's actually broken up into two bills, this long, it's very, very difficult to know what's going on.
One quick, I want to change subjects just quickly. We only have a minute or so left. The National Defense Authorization Act was vetoed by the president because Section 230, which gives that immunity to social media companies, was not revised. Do you support that veto? Do you think it's going to be override now on December 28th, where the House speakers put a vote?
Well, I'll just say this: I voted against it to begin with, and I'm supporting President Trump. I think right now, from what we've seen over the last, especially the last year, and even several years, we've seen the big tech has been censoring us, and I think we've got to repeal Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, and I think President Trump made it very clear from the start what he wanted to see included in the NDAA, and the Democrats refused to act. And so I can just tell you this, that I would not blame him for what he's doing. Again, this is, I'm a veteran of the Air Force and the Army. I've always supported our military. However, there's some good things in there, but there's also some things. I think if we don't get Section 230 repealed from big tech censorship, under this administration, if we do go into a Biden administration, we will never get it done. And it's censorship of the American people and conservatives, and that is inexcusable.